Hey, what's going on, everyone? New World Order Survival Guy. Today, we are gonna get into how to build your bug out bag with kits. Once again, this is my opinion. This is my strong opinion. This is a very important and critical topic because people need to know how to build their kit. I'm not gonna get so much into the specific items, but I will be mentioning some. But I just want to get into the kits that you need to put it in your bug out bag. It's gonna be a bunch of stuff. Let's go ahead and get into it right now. First and foremost is your bug out bag. You want to get in basically an ideal bug out bag, but if you don't have the money to go ahead and throw in on a good big bag or whatever. This is mainly not get home kit, nothing like that. This is bug out. So let's get into it. You got this is 100-liter bug out bag. I mean, we're not, most of us are not into primitive skills and stuff where we don't hardly need anything, but this is a big bag to hold stuff. Now remember, whatever you're packing is gonna be weight and it's gonna be stress on you. So you can limit the size of kits that you're going to put in these bags to your discretion. I know our heads tend to pack more than what our body can handle, especially after traveling some miles and stuff like that. So, like I said, you got this 100-liter bag that can hold a shitload of stuff. And the bigger the bag, the more stuff you're going to be tempted to put in that bag. Be careful. You know, it's all in discretion. How far you got to go. What are you doing? How many people you got? You know, if you got a family, a few kids or whatever, you're going to need a bag like that, whether you like it or not. The other thing is, a lot of survival YouTube channels, social media outlets that put, you know, the idea is to go gray man. But you know what? When shit hits the fan, it typically doesn't matter what kind of pack you have. You know, with Molly accessibles and stuff like that, you can add more stuff to it if your body can pull that weight. If you're going to a city and you're bugging in at home, but you're going out doing little adventures to gather supplies and stuff like that, you may not need a full-on big pack or something like that, because you're going to be, you have a home base. And if it's safe enough to do so, that is a smart move. But in certain circumstances, such as martial law and all this other weird shit that Donald Trump is, like he just federalized all law enforcement and stuff like that. And then plus, not to mention, arming IRS and FEMA and stuff like that. Things are getting really shady real quick. We don't know what's going to happen, but we know there's something big coming around the horizon. So, once again, let's get back into it. You have this pack. Sorry, the camera thing zoomed in and all that. I like these. It has the aluminum frame. It has this bottom. You can set it down. There's many straps. You can pack a lot of stuff on here. The back, very good. Extremely thick, durable shoulder straps. And then it also has this Nice thick waist pad that you can put up on your hip and support and balance the weight of this. I've used it. I've had this for like 15, 20 years, something like that. It has this support mesh. It can breathe easier in your back. There's a gap in between here. And there's also a water bladder in here with the hose. I don't forget now, somewhere in here. Or you can have a smaller one like this. And this is what I'm going to go ahead and talk about today as an example. So I ain't got to sit there and tote that heavy shit while I show you all this stuff. A kit. This is not a kit. Those backpacks are not a kit. Stuff like these are kits. Like these are kits. Now, you want to pack these kits inside your bug out bag. So for instance, let's get into the kits. You want a medical kit. I have a bunch of little kits and stuff like that. None more fill. I'm just going to set examples. Medical kit. Whatever variety of medical supplies. You do need antihistamine. You do need some sort of pain medication in here. You need gauze. You need band-aids. Iodine. Preferably, if you can find the little small bottles of peroxide, rubbing alcohol. There's lots of stuff. Any kind of medical condition that you might have, obviously, you want to pack in here. If you can get some antibiotics and stuff from that company, Chase. I heard lots of great things about it. I am not one of the lucky ones that gets sponsored by them because I'm a pretty new channel. But that's one way of getting some antibiotics. Then you have the fish antibiotics. Obviously, they put a damper on that where it's harder to get that, but it's still possible. So some sort of antibiotics. A variety of medical supplies. Get it in here. Get it. Like, a lot of people can't afford stuff all at once. Work on a kit. Medical kit. Get what you can while you can. Get stuff that's on sale. That is usable and would be an asset to your survival kit. Put it in here. Throw it in your pack. Once it's complete, it's complete. Second, have another pack. A trauma pack. Where you're going to have quick clot. You're going to have tourniquets. A lot of them type of deals. Sutures, stuff like that. You're going to want your medical kit and your trauma kit separate. They do have them Israeli bandages that are very good. They're like huge ace bandages / butterfly. And it'll close that wound. Very good. Those Israeli butterfly bandages. Have that separate. And I'll get into that in a little bit of how you're going to carry this stuff. Another thing, you're going to need a fire starting kit. You're going to have lighters, you're going to have ferro rods, you're going to have strikers, you're going to have, you can even throw in some of these that has char cloth, whatever. Many different types of fire starting material. It doesn't need to be that big. It doesn't need to be this big. Just have it. A small pack. And throw it in your pack. Next, water purification. You're going to want a kit that can carry water purification. You can have your mini Sawyer. You can have your life straw. There's other ones. Some of the audience on here on previous show told me some other ones. Do your research. Have water purification. Have more than one. Have it in here. Water tablets. You can even throw more fire starting thing like lighters or something in here. Have a well-built fire kit. It's not expensive. All them fire starting utensils and stuff is dirt cheap. Take it, throw it in here. Next, tools. Tools. You're going to have Silcock keys. You're going to have the Knipex wire cutters. You're going to have multi-tools. You can have just a barrage of tools. Most tools. Oh, other tools that's going to be a little too big. Hatchets. Stuff like silky saw. Stuff that can be very good, useful. That obviously is not going to fit in them little kits. Those you can stick in the side of your pack. Good to go. If you're in that kind of environment where you're going to need that stuff and you're going to want to pack that. All types of tools. Whatever you think you may need in an environment that you're going, you're not going to pack your whole toolbox. Everybody's different. Every situation's different. Every environment's different. So that's going to be accordingly. That's why I'm not going to show in detail of all these tools and stuff, because everybody's different. You know, depending where you're at is what you need. So you need a good tool bag. You're going to need a little bit of oil, sharpening devices to sharpen your knives, maybe some barrel and gun cleaner. Have a little kit for that. Put it in your tools, or have it separate depending on how much stuff you got and all that gauze and stuff you need to go ahead and wipe down them barrels and stuff like that. You're going to need that. Take that, throw in here. Little life straw container. If the other one's good enough, that's good. If not, or if you want more than one, stick that in there. Now, it's already putting weight in there, so you got to be careful. Next thing, next kit. Guns and ammo. Firearms. You know, like I said before, who gives a shit what people think? Oh, look it, he's all camoed out and stuff like that. You don't have to get camo, but you're going to have to carry some of this stuff. And you're not going to have your pockets filled with stuff. You're going to have to maybe have something like this to carry your magazines and stuff like that. Your guns, you're not going to keep in your bag. You're going to keep an alternative firearm in your bag. A secondary. You're going to need, I only have, because like I said before 100 times, I don't show any firearms or anything to do with that on my channel. But this is a holster. You're going to have a firearm in here. Keep it on your person. So, and it's best to have a secondary in your pack, along with secondary amount of ammo, which is going to be the bulk of your ammo You might want to use something like this. You got smaller ones, multi-pack accessible, whatever. You even have ones like this. Now, these little things are actually good. These magazine holders are actually good to carry like flashlights and stuff that you need, even multi-tool or something like that. These are real good. You can put them on your belt, or you can put them on a MOLLE accessible pack. So, don't forget about these. Bulk ammo. Ammo's real heavy. So, I mean, but ammo is going to save a lot of stuff. It's hunting. You can shoot fish with it. You can protect yourself from predators, human and animalistic. So think about that. You're going to want it in your pack. You're going to want ammo in reach on your pack, which is basically a separate type thing I want to get into real quick. You're going to have stuff on your person. You're going to have guns, ammo, a knife, a water bottle, and I highly suggest stainless steel, single layer, where you can boil if necessary, and nothing's going to leach out into your water or catch fire or get nasty. And the fourth thing is a hand radio. We'll get to that in a minute. In reach on your pack, so you got a hand radio, water bottle, knife, and guns and ammo is going to be on your person. In reach is going to be a trauma kit, guns and ammo, and a multi-tool. So moving on to bag kits. Next one is electronics. Electronics, it could be the hand radio, it could be batteries, it could be wires, cables, it could be a portable power bank, such as I have right here. This is the Q-Tech power bank. It does have a light right here. It's a solar charger. I do have other solar charging devices that's pretty small. You can charge up your phone. I highly suggest you don't bring a phone in a survival situation. Them things are going to be tracked like no other. They can locate exactly where you are. Do not have a phone on you if all possible. So, take that with a grain of salt. Electronics, have an extra flashlight, something like that. Take it, throw it in your pack. Next one is navigation. You want a navigation pack. You want to be able to put your compass, maps, things of that sort, waypoints, a pad of paper, pencil, pen, pencil sharpener. Have it in a pack. If you have the maps and stuff, you kind of want that to be laminated type maps. You can't do that. Well, there's other alternatives, just like the odd alternatives type stuff. Maybe has something sentimental at the house. This is kind of big and bulky, but these containers are actually pretty good. This old chicken bouillon container, good, nice, tight lid. You can fit all kinds. If you have a lot of stuff that just can't get wet, including ID documents, birth certificates, pictures or something like that you have of your family or something. You can put it in something like this. If it's not that much, you can put it in something like this. These seasoning containers. They have good lids. Good screw-on lids. It's going to be watertight. They even have smaller ones. It just depends. Just depends. But those are in good consideration. You can have these little ones and put a bunch of char cloth or dryer lint or stuff like that. Just thought. Moving on, hygiene kit. Everybody needs a hygiene kit. You know, they say wild animals can smell deodorant and stuff like that. Well, wild animals are going to smell your freaking onion armpits too. You need to keep clean. You need to have some kind of soap, bar soap. Deodorant, you can get non-scented deodorant. Stuff like that. Toothbrush. Non-scented, non-flavored toothpaste. Something. You at least need to scrub the plaque off your teeth, because otherwise you're going to have nothing but future problems. So a hygiene kit or whatever, you know, it may be, everybody's different, but for the common stuff, at least you need a hygiene kit. And you can get a little kit like this and stuff it in there. Like I said, documents, that's already been discussed. Clothes, you need clothes. Have the appropriate clothes, especially extra pairs of socks and drawers. You're going to need to have the proper attire for the elements. You know, hypothermia, heat stroke. Those are real deals right there. You need to be able to be prepared for that stuff and have those proper attire that you need for them particular times. They do have those pants, like survival pants, that are zippered at the knees, and you can take those for summer. You can take off the bottom halves, throw them in your pack. They're super light. Don't take a whole lot of room at all. Another thing, gloves. These are more tactical gloves, hard knuckle gloves. I do have warm gloves. These are not going to keep you really that warm in the winter, especially where I live in Colorado. These ain't going to work too good as far as coldness, but these will work good for working and building and doing a lot of other survival stuff. These are going to do the trick. So, and also hats. Hats, keep that sun off your head. Keep that sun off your dome. This is really going to help. This is very important. Especially someone like me, that I shave my head. It really helps me. So, having all this stuff is very, very important. Moving on, food. High calorie containing food. Obviously, you're going to have a heavy enough pack. You want to pack that. That's why a freeze-dried food is so good, because it holds mostly all the nutrients as it did when it was fresh. And it's extremely light. You do need water to reconstitute it, but it is light and it is worth it. The food tastes good. It doesn't really lose too much of its flavor. But then again, in a survival situation, whether food flavoring is comforting, it's not absolute necessary. Like back in the day, they ate food to eat, to have something in their stomach, to not starve to death and stuff like that. Food was not enjoyable and wasn't supposed to be enjoyable. Now they add all this crap in there to make it enjoyable, and people end up getting obsessed with it, and they get excessive amount of weight gain. You just need to eat to survive. Don't worry too much about eating for flavor and stuff like that. Of course, you don't want to gag and get nasty and shit with that. But take that in consideration. One of the things you should do is pack some salt. It enhances the flavor. Plus, it adds those them salts into your body, which are minerals and electrolytes. And it helps for when you sweat and all that stuff like that. It's going to replenish that. So having a little vial or something of salt to add to your food is a good deal. Another thing is good to pack. You can get like a little medicine bottle or something like that and have it in individual baggies or something. Put seeds, growing seeds. If you're gonna be doing that type of bugging out where you're just heading off and you don't know where you're gonna end up or whatever, you want seeds. I have hundreds of thousands of heirloom, non-GMO, non-hybrid seeds. I can't take them all, but I got them just in case. I got them for bartering. I got them, and these heirloom seeds pack all the nutrients. When you go to the grocery store, you buy a tomato or something like that, it's not going to have that much nutrients in it because it's GMO. And they're genetically modified to be bug resistant and temperature resistant. But in return, it takes out a lot of them nutrients. It's crap. They're genetically modified to be not so nutritious, just to look pretty. So food of many different sorts. If you can, it has to be light. I'll get into some more things here in a second. The next thing I want to mention is a mess kit. If you need like a little canteen or a pot and maybe some sporks or something like that. So when you're dealing with the food, you're already going to have some knives. Which a knife is one thing you need on your person. I have quite a few knives. This is a good hunting knife by Buck. Is it 19 something? I forget which model this is, but this is a damn good freaking knife right here. And when you have a knife, you need to pack some something to sharpen. A good quality sharpener or two. Throw in your packs. Another thing, fishing. It's good to have a little fishing kit. This is all you need for something like a fishing kit. Just throw a few hundred yards of line in here. And obviously you don't need all that much at once and stuff like that. But as time goes along, that line that you're using is going to be brittle and stuff like that. You want extra. And also when you're by lakes and populous areas, there's going to be fishing line dangled on the shores and stuff like that. So you can always do that. And there is hooks and stuff like that are on them lines that I do it all the time when I go fishing. I see that crap everywhere. Weights, everything. But if you're in an area that's not too populated, you definitely want a little fishing kit with just mainly hooks and fishing line. You don't need no fishing pole. You don't need a fishing pole. You don't need bobbers. You don't need weights. I mean, you can find stuff. This is America. You can find stuff. There's so much trash everywhere. You can find something to use a bobber if you need to. You don't need to add that extra space because bobbers are big and bulky. They're light, but they're big and bulky, and they're not going to fit in nothing like this. You just need hooks and a line in here. Weights, you can always find weights. Shelter, whatever it is, whether it's a tarp, whether it's a bivvy, whether it's a military rain poncho, Mylar blankets, Mylar tents, I got them all. But some sort of shelter that'll block the rain, sun, and Arctic chill, the wind, and stuff like that. Right here. Very important. Take it, throw it in your pack. Sunglasses, glasses, reading glasses. Like I showed you before in a previous show, these are my reading glasses because it's kind of difficult to see up close for me. These fold up, blah, 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 they fold out. Then it has a mirror you can use for a signaling device and stuff like that. Readers you can also use as a fire starter. A hat, already said that. Gloves, already said that. Boots, shoes, you got to have a good pair of boots or a good pair of shoes. You know, I'm not talking about freaking no damn Hey Dudes or anything like that. I'm talking about some good hiking boots or some good hiking shoes that's made to trek and go on rocks and have good grip and stuff like that. I did do a show the other night about the sandals, hiking sandals, which is very important because, you know, you can get trench feet, you can your shoes will just get saturated and get all nasty and stuff like that, which will develop cuts on your foot and stuff like that, and it's gonna trail on a whole different barrage of obstacles that's gonna come your way with that. So, but just to air out your feet, have some kind of chanclas. That's all I'm saying. Bandanas and baklava's. Face coverings, bandanas are always good for all kinds of stuff. Very important to have into your kit. So that's about it, man. Put your documents in something like this. Throw it in your pack. Your navigation. Throw it in your pack. Build it accordingly. If you build this stuff little by little now, I mean, you're going to have that. Another thing, obstacles. These are very important. These are big. I don't recommend something like these. If you can afford it, get the ones that are like this. They're powerful. They're more pricier than these bulkier things. But, I mean, they're great. And not to mention your firearms. I mean, a scope, good scope. Especially with the 7.62, 223, 5.56, any of them high-powered rifles and stuff like that. You want a scope. Even with your pistol, it's best to have a laser on it. A laser. They also have these lasers that are solar charged, and it doesn't take hardly anything to charge these things up. You ain't got to worry about aiming, because that's the best way to learn how to shoot is, well, iron sights and stuff like that, but scope secondary. But you're not going to have all the ammo to waste and stuff like that. So a laser or holographic sight, you can reach them without any waste. So it's a lot to take in. It's a lot to consume. It's overwhelming. You're like, well, where do I start? A lot of people that ain't into the prepping or just starting the prepping, it gets overwhelming. There's a lot of stuff to know, learn, pack. What should I pack? And you know, people go off on their own and they start packing all this stuff. It's like, holy shit, this is 100-something pounds. Most preppers do that. Most preppers do that. If they say they don't, they're lying. They overpack. They overbuy. You know? But then as time goes along, they learn from it. They learn, you know what, I don't need all this. I could do without this. I mean, they supplement certain things. And they figure out what works for them. Another thing I want to talk about is books. Books are freaking heavy. But you don't have all that knowledge in your head, and you can't possibly know everything. There's plant books. There's books how to do knots. There's books for tactical stuff. Morse code. How to read a compass. Forage for food. Forage for medicinal plants. Just everything. There's tons of stuff to learn. That's why I encourage everybody to learn as much as you can beforehand, because that's less that you have to worry about carrying on your pack to read. But that stuff is crucial. That's crucial knowledge. So please, I urge you guys to do as much reading and research as you can on some of those things. Edible plants, medicinal plants. Like if you have like a Baofeng little hand radio, you don't know how to use it. I mean, I have some, and I got it because it was great, you know, great ratings and stuff like that, and it can do all kinds of stuff. But I'm really half-assed at it. I did buy a Baofeng Bible. Is what it's called. I haven't really explored much into it. I did a little bit, but I need to do a lot more. These things are critical to survival. But the main point of this show is to have kits. Kits, different color little kits, man, or whatever, different designs or something like that. Something that you can identify once you reach in your pack, because you don't want to be digging through all your shit and you're not going to know what's what. You know, you don't have to sit there and open everything and stuff like that. And you want to know what you're grabbing. Okay, here's this kit. Let me start a fire. Oh, let me get this. You know, and you're going to have a pack of these little kits that are all separated from everything. Throw them in here. That's how you should build your kit, in my opinion. Divide everything into genres so you know you can reach in and grab it, and nothing's going to be all over the place. Nothing's going to be digging through empty out your backpack every time you want to find something. You're going to know where stuff is. Your most crucial stuff, you're going to have on your person. You're going to have your knife. You're going to have your firearm. You're going to have Ammo. You're gonna have extra magazines. You pop the empty one out, pop, and get busy. It doesn't matter too much because everybody's gonna know. Everybody's gonna, if they're out looking for someone to rob, it doesn't matter if you have a pink backpack or a camo backpack. They're gonna find out what's in that damn backpack. Because if you're wearing a backpack and the shit hits the fan scenario, you got something in that backpack. Nobody's gonna be fooled by what color backpack it is. Yes, it might stand out a little bit more if you have a camo Molly equipped backpack, but still, man, realistically, they're gonna see this dude, beard, you know, just looking that part of former military or something, and they're gonna know what's up, man. Nobody's that stupid. So it doesn't matter if it's little things like this. If you can stick something in there and identify it when you're filing through your pack, it's good. I keep everything in some sort of type of containers where you can identify. It's like a file cabinet in your backpack. Always carry a flashlight. I would have this in the in-reach part of your backpack along with trauma kit, guns and ammo, multi-tool, stuff like that. Water bottle, in-reach, hand radio on your person, knife, guns and ammo on your person. So that's basically it, man. This right here is a little net, man. Not everybody need this, but I mean, this weighs nothing. A couple grams. If you're in that type of situation, like in the South, something, mountains, keep the mosquitoes off your head. This only costs a couple bucks, man. Actually, I think I paid like $10 for this, but you get like 6 of them. Looks kind of silly, but hey, it's going to keep the mosquitoes and flies and all that crap off your face. And it's nothing. It don't take no weight, but it'll save you a bunch of heartache, especially if you have to sleep outside or something like that, or if you have an open tent or you're sleeping under a tarp and, you know, throw it in that damn pack. So that's basically it. That's what I want to talk about, the importance of having kits and having everything organized and putting it in your backpack. So please like, share, subscribe. New World Order Survival Guy. Thank you for watching. Catch you on the next one.